You did it again this morning, before breakfast, before the phone, before anyone in the house was awake. You walked outside, crouched by the nearest bed, and pressed your fingers into the soil, not to plant anything, not to check anything specific, just to touch it. The way some people reach for coffee first thing, you reach for dirt, cold, damp, slightly gritty under your nails. And after those 30 seconds of contact, something in your chest settled, something in your head quieted. You wiped your hands on your pants and went inside. Nobody noticed, but your body noticed, your brain noticed. And if a lab had drawn your blood before and after that 30-second ritual, the results would have shown something that would surprise almost everyone. You are chemically different from the person who did not touch soil this morning. Not metaphorically, not philosophically. Chemically, measurably. In your blood, in your brain, in the way your nervous system is calibrated for the rest of the day. Today, you're going to learn why people who touch soil every day are running on a different chemical profile than the rest of the population. And the science behind this is not alternative medicine, not folk wisdom, and not speculation. It is peer-reviewed neuropharmacology, and it starts with something living in the dirt beneath your fingernails. The first compound is the one that changed everything researchers thought they knew about the relationship between soil and the human brain. In 2007, Dr. Christopher Lowry, a neuroscientist at the University of Colorado, published a study that was initially met with skepticism. He demonstrated that a bacteria naturally present in soil, Mycobacterium vaccae, when it enters the human body through skin contact or inhalation, activates neurons in the brain that produce serotonin, not a vague wellness response, a specific, measurable activation of the same serotonergic pathways that pharmaceutical antidepressants target. The implications were staggering. The same chemical that pharmaceutical companies spend billions of dollars trying to modulate with pills, the same molecule that is the focus of the most widely prescribed class of psychiatric medications on Earth, exists as a free, naturally occurring side effect of putting your hands in dirt. Nearly 2 decades later, the evidence has only strengthened. Dr. Lowry's lab has published dozens of follow-up studies. Other institutions have replicated the findings. The research now extends beyond mood into immune function, inflammation, and stress resilience. The University of Colorado reported that Dr. Lowry is working toward developing what he calls a stress vaccine, based on Mycobacterium vaccae, a vaccine derived from soil bacteria for stress. Every morning that you touch soil, you are self-administering a dose of this compound. Through your skin, through the air you breathe while crouching near the earth, through the particles that lodge under your nails and stay there for hours. Your body absorbs it, your brain responds, your serotonin levels adjust, and by the time you wash your hands, the chemical process is already running. But Mycobacterium vaccae is only the beginning. The soil microbiome is an entire pharmacy. Research published in the journal Science of the Total Environment in 2023 documented that healthy garden soil contains thousands of microbial species, many of which interact with the human immune system and nervous system upon contact. The diversity of microbes in your garden soil directly influences the diversity of your gut microbiome. And the gut microbiome, through the gut-brain axis, a communication highway between your digestive tract and your brain, influences mood, cognition, anxiety levels, and emotional regulation. Dr. Uma Naidu, a nutritional psychiatrist at Harvard Medical School, described this connection directly in an interview for Psychology Today. The biodiversity of the soil impacts the biodiversity of your gut microbiome, and the health of your gut microbiome is scientifically linked to healthy changes in the body and the brain. This is not a theory. It is established science. The soil you touch feeds the microbes in your gut, and those microbes feed your brain. Every day that you garden, you are diversifying the internal ecosystem that governs your mental health. The second chemical pathway has to do with cortisol, and it explains why you feel different from people who start their mornings with email instead of earth. Cortisol is the primary stress hormone. It is produced by the adrenal glands and released into the bloodstream in response to perceived threats. In the modern world, those threats are almost never physical. They are emails, deadlines, bills, notifications, social obligations. But the cortisol response is the same as if a predator were chasing you. Elevated heart rate, muscle tension, narrowed focus, suppressed digestion, suppressed immune function. A study published in the Journal of Health Psychology measured cortisol in participants before and after 30 minutes of gardening compared to 30 minutes of indoor reading. The gardening group showed a significantly greater reduction in cortisol. But here's the detail that matters. The reduction was not temporary. Cortisol levels remained lower for hours after the gardening stopped. The effect persisted through the day. When you touch soil every morning, you are starting the day with a cortisol-lowering event. Your baseline stress chemistry for the rest of the day is set lower. You are not just calmer in the garden. You are calmer at work, at the dinner table, in traffic, in conversations, because your cortisol was adjusted before any of those stressors arrived. The person who started the day with email is starting from a higher cortisol baseline. The person who started with soil is starting from a lower one. Same day, same stressors, different chemistry, different experience. The third pathway involves dopamine, and it explains why you feel satisfaction from the garden that your job rarely provides. The effort-driven reward circuit, documented by Dr. Kelly Lambert at the University of Richmond, shows that the brain releases dopamine when the body performs physical work that produces a visible, tangible result. This is an ancient circuit, evolved over hundreds of thousands of years of physical labor that directly sustained survival. Planting, tending, harvesting, these are precisely the actions the circuit was designed for. Modern work produces almost no tangible results. The output is digital, abstract, and frequently invisible. The dopamine circuit that evolved for physical effort with concrete outcomes has almost nothing to respond to in a typical workday. The garden fills that vacuum. Every weed pulled, every seed planted, every vegetable harvested triggers the circuit. And because you garden daily, the circuit is running regularly. Your dopamine system is calibrated to a level that people who work exclusively at desks simply do not experience. The fourth pathway is the one researchers are most excited about, and it has to do with inflammation. Chronic low-grade inflammation is now understood to be a driver of depression, anxiety, cognitive decline, and nearly every major chronic disease. And one of the primary regulators of inflammation is the immune system, which is directly modulated by soil microbe exposure. Research published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences found that people raised in environments with greater microbial diversity, rural environments, farms, homes with gardens, showed lower markers of chronic inflammation and stronger immune regulation throughout life. The researchers hypothesized that regular microbial exposure trains the immune system to distinguish between real threats and false alarms, reducing the overactivation that causes chronic inflammation. You, touching soil daily, are providing your immune system with a continuous training stimulus. Your body is learning, at the cellular level, to respond proportionally rather than excessively. Less inflammation means less neuroinflammation. Less neuroinflammation means better mood, better cognition, better sleep, better emotional regulation. The soil is not just affecting your brain through serotonin, it is affecting your brain through your immune system. Two separate pathways, both activated by the same act, touching dirt. So here is the chemical profile of a person who touches soil every day. Higher serotonin from Mycobacterium vaccae exposure, lower cortisol from parasympathetic activation during gardening, regular dopamine from effort-driven reward circuits, greater gut microbiome diversity feeding the gut-brain axis, lower chronic inflammation from immune system calibration through microbial exposure. 5 separate chemical and biological systems, all shifted in the positive direction, all activated by the same behavior, putting your hands in the dirt. The person who does not touch soil has none of these inputs. Their serotonin comes from whatever their body produces on its own or from medication. Their cortisol stays wherever their morning email set it. Their dopamine comes from notifications and sugar. Their gut microbiome reflects a sanitized indoor environment. Their inflammation runs unchecked. You are not the same species in terms of daily chemistry. You wake up in the same world. You face the same stressors. But your body is running on a completely different chemical operating system. And the operating system was installed by something as simple as pressing your fingers into soil every morning before breakfast. You're not doing something quaint when you garden. You are running a pharmaceutical protocol that modern medicine is only beginning to understand, and the prescription has been in the ground the entire time. If this is the first time you are here and you recognized yourself in what you just heard, subscribe. This channel was made for people like us, and tell me in the comments, when did you first notice that touching soil changed something in you? Not what you read about it, what you felt. I want to hear your moment.